It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by SureHold, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, SureHold has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. ShipShape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ShipShape means trouble-free. ShipShape means being neater. ShipShape makes boat work easier. ShipShape is the way to go. The ShipShape Boat Care Show.
ShipShape, South Florida's only boat improvement show, is being brought to you in part by High Seas Fabrication, the finest in marine metal fabrication, and by Stella Marine, a crest above the rest.
Thanks for tuning in to ShipShape, the boat improvement show. I'm John Greviskis, and this is my partner, Burt.
Howdy, folks.
Today we're going to talk about the bilge pump, what things to test if it's not working,
And what's new in the bilge pump arena?
and how to install one. One of the nice things about doing this show is how involved our audience is in the projects we choose. Now, if there's a project or suggestion that you'd like to see covered here on ShipShape TV, write us a letter or send us a fax.
Write your project suggestions to ShipShape, the TV show. Attention Project Director, Post Office Box 31561, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida 33420. Or fax us at area code 407-626-4348.
And when we come back from this short break, Burt and I are going to actually test the bilge pump to see what to look for if it's not working. So stick around.
Don't sail away. ShipShape will be right back.
The SureHold One Bucket System is your storage and detailing solution, featuring an ergonomic corrosion-free rope handle, a bucket caddy to organize your supplies and lift them out with ease, a bucket grate to elevate your wash tools out of dirty water with integrated soap measuring cups, a bucket base that won't let your bucket scratch, tip, or slip, and a bucket lid that keeps tools secure and doubles as a comfortable seat. The SureHold One Bucket System, the world's best rope handle 5-gallon bucket. SureHold, clean and simple.
Burt, when your bilge pump goes out, what are some things that we can look at to find out why?
Well, John, what you first want to do is start off with the manual switch up here on the dash itself. You test your switch, test the wires coming to your switch, test the wires leaving the switch going to the pump, test the switch in the bilge, and then test the pump in the bilge itself. Let's lean the seat back and we'll get started.
Okay. Burt, it sounds like there's an awful lot to this. Is it real complicated?
Not really. It sounds more than it actually is. Go ahead.
What's the first thing that we're going to take a look at
What
here?
we'll do is go ahead and we'll test our switch up here on the dash. Make sure that we have power going to it.
Okay, so you're just going to use your test light?
Yeah, I'll hook this up on the ground.
All right.
Go ahead and see on the front side of our switch if we have power going in.
Do you want me to get up there and test the switch?
Yeah, go ahead and flip it on and see if we got power leaving it now, because we
Okay.
definitely got power going to it.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, our switch is working.
So what does that mean, Burt?
So what we need to do is actually jump back into the bilge and see if we have power back to our pump.
Right.
Because we could have a break in the line after the switch before the pump.
I gotcha. Now, Burt, what are you doing down there?
John, what I'm doing is I'm testing the wire right at the pump itself. We got power here. Move this over to our power supply on the engine and check my ground, make sure it's good.
How does that look?
And it is. We got power and ground all the way to the pump. Go ahead and flip the switch,
All
see
right.
what happens here.
Anything?
No. We could have a short internally in the pump itself, and more than likely that's what it is.
Okay. So what we've done is we've tested the power source, and that's cool. We know that that's good. We've gone to the switch, and we know that the switch is fine.
Our switch is good?
We've tested from the switch back to the bilge pump, and that's fine. So the problem is in the pump itself.
Right.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to head to Boat Owners Warehouse and speak with Larry. What kind of pump do I ask for, Burt?
Just tell him what size boat we have, and he'll give you the recommended pump, because you don't want to get a pump too small for your boat.
I got that.
And ask him about what they've got new in automatic switches.
You got it.
I'm going to change this one out.
I'll be back in a flash.
Okay.
Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Okay, John, how you doing?
Good. We had a bilge pump that went out, and I was wondering if you had any ideas on some new ones.
Yeah, Rule just came out with a new Platinum series. We'll take a look at that one and we'll cover some other ones.
Great. Larry, Burt was telling me that there's a manual bilge pump as well as an automatic bilge pump. What's the difference in how these things are put together?
Okay. A manual bilge pump is controlled by a float switch, which turns it on and off depending on the level of the water. The automatic does the same thing, except it eliminates the float switch, and it does it through load. Every few seconds the pump will come on, and it determines whether there's a load draw on there, and if there isn't, then it shuts back off, and if there is, it means there's water in the bilge, so it'll run until the load drops back on the current.
Now that's a sensor?
No, it senses basically off of the current and the amperage draw through the electrical system.
Okay, okay. Now today we're going to be putting a bilge pump in a 25-foot Whitewater. What do you recommend? How do you go with a bilge pump?
On a 25-footer, you probably could use like either a Rule 1000, 1100, or even probably step up to a 1500.
Now those different numbers, what do they represent?
They represent the gallons per hour that the pump will pump.
Okay, okay, good. So how do you determine how many gallons you're going to need to move?
Well, it depends a lot on what the factory has put in there, the size of the boat, and on maybe how much water comes in the boat, naturally. And whether you have to keep the boat in the water or whether it's up on a lift.
So there's some considerations to take into account.
Right.
If your boat's in the water, do you need a larger bilge pump, or do you need an automatic versus the manual? I mean, I'm just trying to determine which kind of bilge pump we should go
Well,
with.
we'd probably put in you could either go with the automatic or the one with the float switch. Either way, they're going to be automatic.
Okay.
And then we just probably, with that size boat, we'd probably put in like a 1500.
Can you show me how a float switch, what it actually looks
Float
like?
switch, this one here is by Surebale. Rule makes one that's similar to this also. And what it does is this one has mercury in it. And as the level of the water rises, the mercury tips over, similar like a thermostat on your air conditioning or something. And then that turns it on, and it drops down, it turns it back off.
Wow.
And that's how that works. And
Right.
there's different variations on this, size and shape.
Well, show me some different bilge pumps and see what we have
Okay.
to choose from.
These are the rules. The smallest one probably being like a 360. This one comes with a small switch and everything. Then we go up to, in that size, we have an 1100. And then we get into the automatics over here, which we have a 500 and an 1100. And then we have the Platinum series, which is a 500. That's supposed to last longer than the standard pumps. And that again is an automatic.
And what do they do different on this Platinum series?
It's just supposed to have a better quality motor and stuff in it.
Okay.
Wound a little different.
Price range, what are we talking about in a bilge pump?
In these smaller ones, you're ranging from probably $15 up to maybe $60.
Okay, so there's quite a bit of a
There's
range
quite a bit
in
of a
price.
jump, yes. And
Now, naturally, with the automatic, there's more technology, and that's why they're much more
Correct.
expensive. Now, I noticed that you have square ones as well as round bilge pumps. Now, is this to fit into a corner a little better, or what's the philosophy behind this?
well, it's just a different shape and style. Originally, it was designed to fit in their shower sump, and then it's got used into a lot of boats and stuff.
Right.
If they have a small sump or something they want to put it down into.
Now, what if you have a larger vessel? What
A
do you
larger
go with?
vessel, we'll get into the larger rules. We'll get into one like we're putting in the Whitewater, either a 1500 or a 2000, or we can go up even into 3700 pumps. And they have larger pumps than that also.
Sure. So all this is a larger version
Correct.
than the smaller
Right.
pump here.
And the other thing you have to watch out for is your hose size, your discharge size,
I've got you.
and selecting that.
Now, how do you determine that?
Well, by the through hull that you've already got in there for the overboard discharge.
Right.
Because there's no sense if you've got a 3/4 in there of putting one in that's 1 1/8 because you're just going to choke that down and you're really not going to gain anything, and you may end up also damaging the pump.
Because there's more workload.
Correct,
Because
yes.
of the pressure?
Right.
On all of that. So when you're determining a new bilge pump, there are some real considerations to make.
Correct.
Now, when the manufacturer puts the bilge pump and you're replacing it, do you always go with what's in there, or can you make it more efficient?
You can make it more efficient. You could always step up. The one thing you don't want to do is get the pump too large because it's just going to cycle on and off because it may not discharge the volume of water out, and it'll just dump it back in because it can't clear the hose. So you're just going to have it cycle on and off and on and off.
Right. So as always, if somebody has a question, ask one of the
Yeah.
professionals. And, you know, just like your staff here, Larry. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the bilge pump in.
Okay.
Thanks, Larry.
All right. Thank you, John.
ShipShape will be right back.
Don't neglect your non-skid fiberglass because it's too hard to wax. Waxing and protecting molded-in non-skid has never been faster and easier thanks to Sure-Hol's soft dual-action polisher brush head and pro polish. This winning combination will quickly seal and protect your textured fiberglass. Now every square inch of your boat can be detailed like a pro. Whether you are waxing non-skid, cleaning carpets, or scrubbing teak, Sure-Hol has the perfect polisher brush head for every task. 3 brushes, 1 amazing polisher. Another answer from Sure-Hol Industries' clean and simple solutions for detailing all your toys.
Man, here you go.
All right, great.
Should be everything we need for today's project.
Great. Let's see what we have here. Automatic build switch.
Right?
Shrinkable butt connectors. Definitely need those. Wire.
I hope that's
And
the
we
right
have-
gauge.
And we have a Rules 1500.
That's right.
Great.
That's the pump Larry recommended.
All right. Let's get the old one pulled out here. Now, when you're pulling out your old pump, what you want, there's 2 keepers on either side of the pump. You just squeeze them in, bump the top of your pump, disconnect your wires, back off your hose, you have your discharge hose, and pull it out.
Let me ask you a question, Burt. Do you have like several choices of where you could mount a bilge pump?
You want to keep it low in the boat and to the rear as much as possible,
Okay.
because that's where your water is going to naturally gather.
So like the lowest point of the boat.
Right. Let me back off our discharge hose.
Okay.
Pull that out of the way. Dike these wires real quick.
I know that's kind of tight quarters. You're going to actually show us what you've been doing, right?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Well, there's our pump.
Okay.
See, it's got a lot of, actually this is dirt and oil built up on it.
Larry was saying that the oil's bad.
Yeah, that could be part of the, that could be why the pump went out. It's, you know. If you don't want, you can actually drop the new pump on your old screen if it's in good shape. If
Okay.
you don't want to, if you don't want to change the screws, back out the screws or anything.
What happens if you do change those screws?
Providing that the screw holes aren't walled out or the wood's not rotten or whatever the case may be, you can just reuse, put some silicone around your screws, reuse the same holes.
Okay.
And hopefully that's what we have here. 'Cause
Anything
I'm
to
gonna
look
change
out
this
for?
Screen. If you're mounting, let's say you're making new holes,
Right?
you do want to make sure you don't drill through the bottom of your boat. I know it sounds funny, but I know a guy that actually, he mounted a bilge pump in his boat and he drilled clean through the bottom of the boat.
You're going to get your money's worth for the bilge pump.
Oh yeah, right?
So what are you doing now, Burt?
I'm going to go ahead and pull the screen up,
Okay.
because this one here is just oil soaked and it's got dirt and crud all over it.
Now, is there any way to salvage this one, or are we putting in new?
You're just better off putting in new. I mean, you don't want this thing failing with you when you're 20 miles offshore and you start taking on water, you know? I always say it's better to be safe than sorry.
You got that right.
Okay, I got it now. Take me a couple of minutes to back these screws out.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, to find them under all this gook. Okay. I got it pulled out.
Oh my gosh, Bert.
Now check that out. Look at all the debris that's inside our screen here. You got looks to be a tie wrap, piece of electrical wire, and you see all this dirt, this grease dirt?
Larry was saying oil isn't real good for these things.
No. Well, the combination of the debris in there, the oil,
I can see why it
plus
went.
it's got age on it. You can see the new one looks much nicer.
Let me see how this thing's wired up.
Okay.
Says here that we're looking at a line going from the battery, the hot side of the battery, to an on-off panel switch, through a fuse, and then we go to this this switch here, this float, this rule-o-matic switch.
Mm-hmm.
Then from the rule-o-matic switch to the positive side of the pump, and then from the negative side of the pump we go to a ground.
Right. Here, this will be your ground.
Okay.
This will be your positive side. This is when you run one side of the rule-o-matic switch to it.
Okay.
All we really have to do is we're just doing a remove and replace. We've already run our switch on the dash is already run through a fuse. We know we've got power and ground all the way back to this point here from a previous test.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do is remove and replace what we had, and then we'll test it out and see if it works.
Sounds great.
Okay.
So Bert, putting in a new bilge pump is really not that big of a deal.
No, John, it's very simple. You just go through a process of elimination, make sure that it is your bilge pump, and then just remove and replace.
Knock it up.
John, go ahead and hit the switch and let's see if she pumps. There it is.
Everything's ship-shape. Good job, Bert.
All right, thanks.
Don't pull up anchor. Shipshape. We'll be right back. Chapman's Corner is brought to you by Chapman School of Seamanship.
Today on Chapman's Corner, I want to show you how to tie a bowline and give you some practical applications on how to use it. To start off with, I'm going to give you a little mnemonic. We're going to start by making a hole for our rabbit to come out of. I take the bitter end of the line, the rabbit comes out of his hole, goes behind the tree, and then he goes back down into his hole. I take these two parts right here, cinch them up, and now I have my bowline. And by the way, this knot will not jam on you. I've also made a temporary loop in the end of the line. I can now take this loop and go over the top of my pilings for securing my vessel to a dock, or if it's not big enough, I can do a girth hitch like this. Once again, over the top, cinch it up, and I'm good to go. And that knot's going to hold for you, and also when it's time to untie it, you'll be able to untie it very easily. From Chapman School of Seamanship, this is Tom Dombey.
I'm here at Stella Marine at Sauerville Harbor in Palm Beach Gardens. And with me is Bob Stella, the owner of Stella Marine. Bob, welcome to Shipshape.
Hey, nice to be on the program, John.
Today we're going to take an in-depth look at the Pursuit 2870. Bob, what do we have here?
Well, this is the new 2870 walk-around by Pursuit. It's brand new for '96. It's got a huge walk-around, makes it very accessible. It's got live bait wells, fish boxes, tackle centers. Rigging station is tremendous for fishing.
This is quite a station.
Yeah, she carries 235 gallons of fuel. She gets a great cruising speed, around 35 miles an hour. You probably got an average of 12 to 14 hours, depending how you run it. And she'll burn around 16 to 18 gallons an hour at cruising. She also has a fuel management system, which is a great feature. That way you're, you're able to control your speed and also your fuel, which will give you the utmost performance and economy. It's got a tilt-away helm, which makes it real easy to work on your gauges or to put electronics on the boat.
Nice feature.
And flush mounting electronics is really simple on this boat.
What kind of engines are you talking about on this?
These are the new Saltwater Series 2 1/4 Yamahas. Saltwater
good
Series
things
2.
about this.
There's a brand new paint job this year, stainless steel shafts. It has a quiet flush, so you don't have to start the engines to flush them out. Hydraulic steering. All the bait wells and all the fish boxes drain overboard.
Wow.
Now what that means is now you're inside the boat and you get a bloody fish like a dolphin.
Sure.
and the fish is spreading blood out everywhere. You know, in the fish box, it's going right outside. You're not walking on the blood.
One nice thing about this boat is the non-skid deck.
That's a trademark with Pursuit, the herringbone non-skid.
Right.
It's great. It's great, especially, you know how it is if you get fish guts on the ground and
Talking about
blood
the
and
knife,
slime,
I know
and
that.
before you know it, you're on the floor. No, this works great.
Well, this is one nice vessel. The top, is this standard with this particular model, or is this an upgrade?
It's an option, but most of your customers will go with the hard top. The big feature on the boat, of course, is the integrated transom.
Sure.
Transom door, very accessible to get in and out of the boat. The integrated transom gives you the capability of performing a lot better than a bracket in the back of the boat. Backing down on a fish. You know, this, as you can see, has a modified V hull. Trim tabs are recessed. She really is a 30.5 foot boat overall length. So unlike a lot of manufacturers today who say their boat's a 26-foot boat, and actually is a 24 or 25, this is actually, it's a 28 walk around, but it's actually over 30 feet long.
Nice, real nice. Bob, what are we talking about price-wise?
Base price on a boat like this is around $75,000, $78,000. With the options loaded up, it's probably around $85,000 to $90,000.
I got you. I got you. Well, again, I thank you for being on Ship Shape.
Okay, thank you for having us.
Until next time.
Okay,
See ya.
thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it.
And be sure to tune in next week when we install a lockout system on Dick Moroso's 61-foot sport fish.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. Ship shape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ship shape means trouble-free. Ship shape means being neater. Ship shape makes boat work easier. Ship shape is the way to go. The Ship Shape Boat Care Show.